It's currently about 4 a.m. I'm sitting on the floor in front of my CRT. I wasn't even going to record this because I couldn't find any cables or battery chargers for my camcorder, but luckily I found this box of power adapters so that I could charge it directly while I record this, which is cool. I'm not sure I'm even going to post it, but we'll see what happens. I've seen a lot of these sort of low effort vlog videos going around recently, and they're always sort of endearing, so I wanted to give it a try and make my own one. I'm 24 years old, soon to be 25. I've been out of school since about 2021, depending on what you count as school. I think technically it would have been closer to 2019, but I took part in a students-only design competition in 2021, which was delayed due to COVID, and I'm also unemployed. I've been in and out of therapy all my life. The general consensus is that I have some sort of mental disorder, but they're not really sure what. I have like symptoms of different ones, but not enough symptoms of any specific one. The most likely candidate at the moment is schizotypal personality disorder, which means I don't get any hallucinations or episodes or anything like that, but it is a type of antisocial personality disorder, which means that I like to isolate myself and I have a hard time making new friends and things like that. I'm currently wearing this beanie, Krog beanie, shout out Max and Chad, which was gifted to me by a friend for my birthday last year, maybe the year before, I'm not too sure. Because I haven't actually shaved my head in a while and I'm balding quite profoundly. I mentioned my CRT earlier, so we might as well start with that. It's a KVHR32 M31, which is a widescreen Sony CRT PAL TV. I bought it as I was getting into CRTs as a hobby and thought it might be my dream CRT, but since then I've learned a lot and it's just kind of okay. It's 32 inches, hence the 32 in the title, which is the second biggest widescreen CRT that I know, at least. The first biggest is the same model, but 34 inches instead. It is a widescreen, flat screen CRT. It has 2 component ports, which is the main reason I got it, and I think up to 5 composite ports, which is also quite nice. It's got an RF port, of course, and I thought it had RGB, but it turns out it's RGBS, which almost nothing is compatible with. It would be my main TV, I don't know if you can see, but up here on this shelf behind my actual flat screen TV, I have a Roku HD XR, I believe it is, which I got imported from the US. I think it's the only model they had which had native component output, which is why I bought it. But it came with a broken IR receiver or something like that, which means that I can't actually set it up, so it doesn't work. What I do use my CRT for is my retro games. You can see I have a massive PS2 collection, my PS2 here. I've also recently acquired a Mega Drive and a GameCube, both of which are working. And I got a PS1, which is just down here in the same bundle, as well as an Atari 2600 Junior, which powers on but doesn't output anything, and another PS1. Both of the PS1s are modded, which is nice. I currently only have a few games for the PS1. I've got a copy of Dark Forces, which I had since I was a kid. I've played through the game twice on PC, once with the original version, then once again with the remaster, but I still have yet to finish the PlayStation copy. And the guy I bought the consoles from also gave me a copy of Tekken 3, Gran Turismo 1, and I think the last Need for Speed that they released on the PS1, which is pretty cool. I've also got a couple in the mail right now. I've got Excalibur 2555 AD, and another game called Hybrid, which I hadn't heard of until I was looking for PS1 games to buy and saw it really cheap, and it's an FPS game, which is right up my alley, so I bought it. I also bought a copy of Orphan Silent Sorcery for the PS2, which I've been wanting to play for a while, and the bundle I ended up getting for a lot cheaper than I was expecting, because the guy who I bought it from lost most of the cables, so the only console we were able to test and confirm was working was the GameCube, So I bought that off him and he just threw in the rest for free. And with the spare cash for that, I've been buying Star Wars books. I'm a big Star Wars fan, nerd more like. A couple of days ago, I found a Star Wars planets quiz, which I've been familiarizing myself with. It has 130 planets, which is not all of the planets. I know a couple that aren't on there, but it's a good amount of planets, and I can't be bothered finding another list. So I've been practicing on that. I know of about 60 off by heart, and I'm also getting quite good with the species. So the Star Wars books that I bought, I got Force Unleashed 2, the novelization. I don't own the first one, but it was cheap, so I bought it. And I got Vision of the Future, which is a sequel to Spectre of the Past, which I already owned. That will complete the Thrawn duology. I got Lost Tribe of the Sith, which is a print collection of audiobooks, which I thought was quite interesting. I got Dark Disciple, which I was interested in because of the Tales of the Underworld series, which I think is the best animated show they've put out yet. I still think that the Dooku episodes from Tales of the Jedi were the best ones, but the rest of that season kind of sucked, so Tales of the Underworld beats it. I also got Truce at Braca or something like that. I don't think it was Braca, it was something starting with a B, which I just got because it was the cheapest one on Amazon. And I bought Luke Skywalker and the Adventures of something or other. Is like a stupid title, but I bought it because the version with the Legends imprint, which is the line I'm collecting, is quite rare. I found out about this only earlier this evening when I was looking into the remaining books that I have yet to get. There's one very early in the timeline, I think either before or after Lost Tribe of the Sith, called something Night, I don't really remember. But that publication didn't get reprinted with the Legends banner over it. And it's actually one of 6 books to do that. The person I was discussing this with thought that the Luke book that I bought was one of them, but it wasn't. It's actually technically one of 9 books if you include the ones that got printed with the Legends banner, just not in their original English. The last thing I have in the mail is a book called Lost Zone: Hiking the Dawn of the Metaverse, which is about the 3D chat rooms of the early 90s. It's quite a hard book to find, very rare. There aren't many printings of it. I think it's fairly easy to get if you live in Europe, but I don't live in Europe, so it was twice the price and a real pain in the ass to find a copy of. I discovered this book while I was in sort of a research phase for a video I was planning on making, where I was looking into virtual chat rooms from the 90s. It was one of many books that I found on the subject which I wanted to buy, but these books are quite rare and usually fairly expensive, so it's actually, I think, the first one that I'm buying on the topic. I've been thinking about writing my own book as well. It would be a speculative sci-fi fiction along the vein of Olaf Stapleton, who wrote a book called Last and First Men, which I haven't actually read, but I know it from a movie of the same name, which is based on the book. It was a very experimental movie. It's mainly still shots, mostly black and white, of abstract sculptures and architecture. The whole thing was narrated by Tilda Swinton, and it was released after the director's death. But it's quite a good movie. I'm a big fan of movies. I've recently spent about a year rewatching all of the movies from my childhood so that I could create a Letterboxd account, because a girl that I like asked me if I had one and I didn't. In the time it took me to create the Letterboxd account, she stopped using all of the social media platforms that I was able to contact her on, and I could message her on another platform, but I don't want to come across as a cyberstalker. It could just be that she doesn't want to talk anymore. She did tell me at some point that she also had an antisocial personality disorder. I don't remember which one exactly, but it was one of them. But I think it's more likely that she just doesn't use the platforms anymore, which is disappointing. But now I have a Letterboxd for myself, which is great. I have seen almost 1,800 movies, the most recent of which is The Backrooms, which was decent. I mainly watched it because my friends enjoyed it. They watch basically anything that's new and popular, and it's actually quite a hassle getting them to watch anything else. It took months of convincing just to make them watch Office Space, which isn't even an obscure movie, it's just older than the ones they would generally watch. But the next movies that I intend to watch are The Point, which is an animated movie. I don't know much else about it. I don't really watch trailers or read synopsis or anything. I just go based on cinematography, or in this case, animation style. I also want to watch Ping Pong, which is a 2002 Japanese comedy movie, and another one I found recently called Busu, which I believe is also Japanese. I've decided to start watching the Grand Tour recently. I am near the end of season 2. I'm not a car guy by any means. I know very little about them. I don't have my license and I have no intention of getting it. But I used to watch the Top Gear specials with my dad when I was a kid, and I always found them pretty funny, so I wanted to watch the Grand Tour. The reason I bring this up is because in one of the episodes they play a song by Queens of the Stone Age, which is a band I used to listen to in high school. I originally found them because Villains had just released around the time that I heard a synthwave remix of Make It With You, which is one of their earlier songs. I was quite into synthwave and just generally EDM music back then. My brother's recently discovered them as well, and he's been listening to them a whole bunch. They were actually the first band that I remember seeing in concert. So I was listening to some of their music earlier, and they're still quite good. It's not really the genre I listen to anymore. I'm more into, very extreme metal. I love doom metal, especially the harsher ends with sludge and drone and stuff like that. But I listen to a healthy dose of death metal and black metal and just noise in general. But I also have a soft spot for shoegaze. The heavier the better. I love Grievo and Lazy Legs, and Slow Crush in particular has been amazing recently. I've listened to Thirst like once a week since it came out. It's a great album. And I think that's about all I have to say for now. Hopefully you got to know me a bit. Goodbye.